Plants are trying to protect themselves. I'm John Laspina, the Carnivore teacher, and that's my topic today. Now, you've often heard, if you have, that Dr. Anthony Chaffee, he's like one of my number one people that I follow on YouTube. He often says, plants are trying to kill you. That's his catchphrase. And it's true. Plants have developed toxins and chemicals to basically ward off predators, predation. They want to make sure that the bugs and the ants and whatever's trying to eat them can't, and they actually get hurt or die. So plants are trying to kill them, and plants are actually trying to kill you because you're a human. Now, I flip it around and say the same thing by saying plants are trying to protect themselves. That's the purpose of an oxalate, one of the purposes. Oxalate is this microscopic shard of glass type substance. I'll show a picture over here of what they look like in a raspberry seed. They're in spinach, they are in rhubarb and dark chocolate and black pepper and cinnamon and turmeric and just a whole bunch of black tea, raspberries, seeds. These are things that when an animal eats them, it cuts their little mouth open and they don't eat it anymore. That's to protect the plant. When we humans eat them, because we're bigger, they get into our body, they get into the fluid in our joints, they get into the nephrons of our kidneys, they can get into our eyelids, they can get anywhere in the body, they bind with calcium, and then at one point, the body senses there's a certain amount and it wants to flush or dump these oxalates out. And there's a dumping episode where they come out of your poop, or they come out of your urine, or they can't because they're too big, because they crystallized and they get stuck in the kidney and they grow. And then they start to move and they rip and tear, and that's a kidney stone. I had one. It was very painful. I had to pass it. Some people have to have an operation to break them apart. Sometimes they come out of your eyelid. Sometimes they come out of your skin in the form of a rash. Sometimes people think they have gout, or they think they have arthritis, and it's actually calcium oxalate deposits in their joints, and it hurts. These are there also in plants because they're kind of shiny. They reflect the sunlight into different parts of the plant, so the plant gets more sunlight so that it can make chlorophyll. They also are there to attract calcium and magnesium and other minerals. So oxalates are kind of like, gosh, I don't know the chemistry behind this, but you know how a negative and a positive attract, okay, like a magnet? Well, an oxalate is one of those, and calcium is another one, so they get attracted to each other, and other minerals, and they kind of bind and make this oxalate magnesium kind of little molecule, and then they grow and get bigger and form crystals. This occurs inside our body and causes damage, and that's just oxalate. Oxalates also rob our body of the needed calcium. It kind of like strips our body of magnesium and calcium because oxalates get drawn to them like a magnet and they want to bind to them. So another anti-nutrient is lectins. Lectins are in every plant pretty much, every fruit and every vegetable. They disrupt and interfere with the digestion and absorption of minerals and nutrition that you eat. Phytic acid does the same thing. There's phytates in a lot of fruits and vegetables. These are plants. The nuts and seeds and legumes have the highest levels of lectins and phytates and sometimes oxalates. This is why we carnivores say don't eat that stuff, because those are the anti-nutrients or the toxic chemicals that the plants have evolved to make to protect themselves from being eaten by predators. We are a predator. If we're eating the plants, we are the predator, and they can hurt us. Some people get put in the hospital. Some people die. Did you know that there are certain beans out there that if you don't soak them like crazy and cook them, if you eat them raw, you will die because the lectins are so high that they're poisonous. The phytic acid is so high that they poison a person to death. That's why you soak and soak and soak overnight. And then it leaches into the water. You throw the water away, you rinse it off, and there's a lot less lectins, a lot less phytates, a lot less oxalates. Why do we have to soak and cook like crazy? Because they have poisons in them. They have toxins in them. So I encourage you to eat the carnivore way of eating. Eat as few plants as possible. I eat none because I know what they are and I don't want all that stuff in my body. I don't want those toxins in my body. I had a kidney stone. I'm still dumping oxalates little by little. Every 3 months I get a little dumping episode. It's not real bad. I feel like I have the flu and then it goes away. It's not healthy to eat plants. Plants are protecting themselves with toxic chemicals. Every single plant has chemicals in it to protect itself. Some are very low that we can tolerate. Many of them are pretty moderate, and most of the plants are so high they're poisonous. More plants on the planet Earth are poisonous if you eat a little bit than can be tolerated. Just the ones that you see in the grocery store, in the farms, it's a small amount, are the ones that humans can tolerate, and even those, a lot of them we have to boil and soak and cook. Think about it. Instead of going through all that, don't eat them. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this helpful. Plants are trying to protect themselves. Click the thumbs up, share this video with friends and family, subscribe to my channel. I wish you an excellent day, plant-free.